sure it's 7? Count them again. How many balls in each box?
1.
There's strong evidence to show that children do better at school when their parents are involved and interested in their learning.
Right, so we clap, so we all clap.
This programme features 3 educational research projects that are exploring ways schools are working with families and how particular initiatives might benefit children with special educational needs. At the University of Northampton, trainee teachers are involved in research into extended schools and the services they offer families. Director of the Centre for Special Needs Education and Research, Richard Rose, is leading the project.
Schools are obviously changing quite considerably. They're no longer just providing education from 9 till 3:30. They're becoming the hub of a community, involving lots of other professionals, voluntary services, much more focused on families and community. And clearly our students who are now in initial teacher training are going to go into schools that are very different from the ones they probably experienced themselves as youngsters. So we need to equip them with an understanding, and the best way to do that is to give them some informed details based upon research that enables them to get a true picture of what extended schools are like.
Families, and you'll see the new.
The research team have been interviewing teachers, social workers, health visitors, people who are offering services to families and to the wider community through the schools, and have also been engaged in interviewing the people who are actually receiving these services. As a result of this, we've developed a series of case studies which look at innovative practice in the extended school service, which will be used both to give a research base to talk about the efficacy of extended services and to provide materials for initial teacher training. We've so far got about 60 hours of filming of interviews and of activities in schools, which we've then put into presentations which we've used with focus groups of students.
And we know from national research that 5% of young people are probably carers. They may be looking after parents who are addicted to drugs or alcohol. They may be getting siblings off to school. That's going to affect their school life. So the more we can help them, the more opportunities they've got to succeed.
The purpose of the focus groups has been that the students have looked at the material we've produced with a view to how they would like to see it used in their own professional training. We're using video with the students because they actually get to see the people who are involved and they hear the authentic voice of the people we've been researching. And I think that's far better than actually trying to do that from a written interview. The visual impact is very important and students, I think, engage with that very well. And I think we've had to be conscious as researchers that today we live in a kind of communication age where students are using the internet, they're using YouTube and all kinds of facilities that are very, very visual. And therefore, if we're going to produce effective teaching materials based on the research we're doing, we have to be very conscious of their preferred way of accessing the information. How useful is it for you to see examples of what's happening at Key Stage 3 and 4?
As a teacher, you need to know where the children are coming from, e.g. Their background, their home life, but you also need to know where the children are going as well, and you can help prepare them for that transition. So it's great for helping children with the transition from primary to secondary school.
I'm in a children's centre at the moment on my placement, and so I've seen a lot of this sort of taking place. Like today I was at an antenatal clinic there, and it really brings people together.
Parents with children with disabilities, they can talk to other parents who have the same problems, and they can share their problems and share solutions as well, things that they might not have tried.
We have a number of audiences for this work. Clearly we have an academic audience who will be interested in the research. We have initial teacher educators and their students right across the country, and this will be available in web-based form, but also we're very keen that it's made available to families and people who are looking for specific forms of support from schools. So we will be engaging with parents groups and support groups right across the country, we hope.
Another research project at the University of Northampton is looking at a different aspect of the relationship between schools and families. Professor of Education Philip Garner is focusing on the role fathers play in the education of boys.
Okay.
What's a lantern? You know what a lantern is?
It's something that you light in the olden days.
I think, like a lot of research, my own inquiry started by being a father myself.
But both.
It strikes me that there are important things that fathers can bring to the education process, which hitherto they have rather been marginalised from.
This is a true story.
Yeah.
Most schools have got a key group of youngsters who seem to absorb an inordinate amount of time and energy on the part of teaching staff and others. These are youngsters who are often underachieving, they're disengaged from the curriculum, and reaching those boys can sometimes best be done using the dads. Some schools are actively involved in doing this, and this project is about providing opportunities for discussions between teachers, young people and their fathers to look at ways in which this dialogue can be extended. We've done a series of films of dads talking about ways in which they are involved in their own son's education, and we hope that this acts as a catalyst for student teachers thinking more closely about the need to involve dads.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't enjoy school at any stage, and really, to be honest, I hated every minute of it, and I couldn't wait to get out.
When my two sons were young, I do remember taking them to school and feeling slightly out of it, because it seemed very much a female environment. That there were mothers with their children at the school gates, very few fathers, and that, of course, the majority of school teachers in primary school particularly are female as well.
You can certainly feel as an outsider, certainly going into the playground on the day-to-day things, but I think maybe more activities that the school could host, in relation, just with the fathers.
Specifically for dads.
Specifically for dads, yeah. I'm sure a lot of dads out there do want to be involved more with their children's education.
As a teacher myself years ago, I was hugely cynical of research, in inverted commas, that appeared in academic journals. I liked to see things firsthand, and I think that one of the products of this small-scale action research is that we have actual examples which people can see for themselves. We're putting together a series of film clips which we hope to be able to stream on virtual learning environments, and also provide CD-ROMs of these film extracts for the students. Many of the dads in these conversations are saying, well, I've got this skill and I can do that. I'd like to model this kind of skill to my own son, but also to other boys. And it seems to me that what schools and the dads themselves are uncovering is a huge reservoir of skills and energy to go with it.
Very good.
Pupils are benefiting from the stronger links between school and home created by research conducted by the University of Chichester. Tricia Waters is a senior lecturer in SEN. Her project is Story Links.
Right, because what we'd like to do is to read the story you've been working on this week. Well, the Story Links project is about engaging parents of pupils on the Special Educational Needs Register to come into schools and use therapeutic story writing as a way to help their child feel more settled in class and also to improve their reading skills.
Dino enjoyed living on Diamond Mountain, close to Flora, and
Lewis was just like a volcano waiting to erupt. He has really, really bad anger issues and would just explode and lash out, and was quite often getting excluded for violent behaviour, fighting, verbal outbursts in the classroom. We started the course and Lewis took to it straight away. Each week it involves making up a story.
OK, so let's look at the story for this week then. So Mum and I have had a little chat about how we might start it. The Story Links teacher will give the opening, the child does the next bit, then the parent, then the teaching assistant. We go around 2 or 3 times and it's fun, it's a bit like a party game.
Dino did think about asking for someone to go with him.
When the session has finished, the Story Links teacher types up the story that's just been created at the child's reading level. A copy then goes home for the pupil to read the story to the parent and a copy goes to the teaching assistant, who has 2 sessions during the week in which the child will practice their reading skills using the story text.
That he was ready for the challenge.
Well done.
We've trained over 50 teachers to work with the parents, and then we are looking at the impact of these 10-week interventions.
Well, from the experiences that I have had with the research project, I think this is going to be a very useful tool for us for working with children whose behaviour might be either challenging or showing that we need to support them in some way. One little boy who had been stealing from other children in his class, and his behaviour in the playground was very immature. His behaviour improved quite dramatically.
Some of the parents who we don't see very often, we've managed to get involved in this, and I think that alone has helped. A few of the children that we work with have been children who've been close to being excluded, and therefore the relationship with the parents is often a little bit strained in that sort of situation. But when the parents actually work with the school and come into school and work with alongside their children, I think they get a slightly different view of how things are, and they learn more about us and we learn more about them.
Lewis has done some lovely pictures for the story we made up last week.
He really got into it, really enjoyed it, and was able to express himself so much better, and now he does talk about his feelings. On most weeks, Lewis just done the story himself. He just rolled with it, and you could pinpoint it to an incident that Lewis had had within that week and how he dealt with it. And although he didn't realise that I was aware that that's what he was doing it through Dino the dinosaur character.
Before, I really easy got angry, and now I've been doing Dino the dinosaur. I hardly get angry now.
We're talking here about a vulnerable group of pupils, really, pupils who've got behaviour, emotional, social difficulties. And quite often the parents are a hard to engage group. The focus is on them working with the school on improving their child's reading and explaining that in the stories that are created, we will also be addressing some of the child's emotional and behavioural difficulties. What's stressed in the training is that it's not about the teacher having some clever interpretation of the stories. It is trying to increase the pupil's emotional vocabulary. It's addressing particular feelings that all of us have difficulties with, like anger, feeling left out, in a safe way, generally in animal stories, so it's not in the everyday reality of the child. We're hoping that the research report we'll be writing will show educational professionals another way to engage parents of what is a vulnerable group of pupils, and to show that, in a sense, you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone, address the behaviour and address reading.
The people in our class, they used to be a bit scared, thinking let's not play with him. But now, friends always play with me, and I'm getting loads more friends because I'm being much more nicer, and they're being nicer back.